You know what I love? Instagram. I mean, what a website. I guess it's an app? Yeah, what an app. I mean, you go on there and you just find the best content. I mean, people traveling and hashtag living their best life and traveling and driving cool cars and, I don't know, traveling. Just seems like everything on Instagram is so perfect. Almost too perfect. You know what else I like? Documentaries. I think you see where this is going. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. We're back. Kind of a new look, if you haven't noticed already. If you can't tell, this is actually my bedroom, and so there's not a ton of space to work with to make this a operable studio and place to live and sleep. So I kind of moved things around to give myself a little bit more space, and I kind of like this look a little bit better anyway. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you like this look or the previous one better, but I think I'm going to stick with this one just because not only does it work a little bit better, I think it looks a little bit better too. So, but today we're talking about what's hot on the streets on Twitter, Instagram, the internet in general, and that, of course, is Fyre Fest. Now, more specifically, we're talking about the documentary. I'd be way behind the time. I'm already behind the times of this video, but I'd be way behind the times if I was just now talking about what a shit show Fyre Fest was. But it seems to be the great debate on the internet of whether or not the Netflix documentary was better or the Hulu documentary was better. Now, I watched both, and so I thought that this would be a perfect first video for the channel to talk about the differences, the craziness, and which one that I think is better. So let's get right to it. All right, a couple of quick disclaimers. First of all, I watched the Netflix one first. That's because I had a Netflix account. I didn't have a Hulu account, and as soon as I posted on my Instagram story that I was going to watch the Fyre Festival documentaries, I got like 7 DMs saying, the Hulu one's better, Hulu one is way better, you gotta watch the Hulu one. And, you know, I don't watch that much Netflix as it is, so I didn't really see a point in having a Hulu account as well, but marketing worked, and I got myself a Hulu account just to watch both documentaries and compare them. So I figured, why not talk about them? Because this is kind of, for those who don't know, this is kind of the line of work that I do quite a bit of. The documentary, storytelling, interviews, that style of work is a large majority of the stuff that I do every day. And so I thought that comparing the two of the hottest topic and maybe the wildest story in a recent decade would be a good place for this channel to go. Let's start with good old Netflix. This documentary was interesting. It was particularly interesting because I went into it having read 7 DMs saying you have to watch the Hulu one. So I was like, oh, this is gonna suck. This is not gonna be good. I don't even know I'm wasting my time, but I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the Netflix one was very, very good, particularly from a storytelling standpoint and from the way they used the people that they had. Now, I'll talk about this in a second, but I'm pretty sure the reason that everyone was ranting and raving about the Hulu documentary is because they actually got that sociopath, Billy McFarland on camera. And again, I'll talk about this in a second, but I don't know that does a whole lot for the documentary. So back to Netflix. First of all, let's rewind. What an insane story. I mean, it really makes sense. I actually think that Fyre Fest itself wasn't the worst idea of all time. I mean, you take Instagram and you basically just bring it to life, right? People want attention. They want likes. They want to look like they're living the perfect life. And this is what seemed to be the perfect music festival, the perfect marketing event, the perfect, make-believe idea, story, post everything on Instagram and look really freaking cool doing it. And it probably could have worked had this gang of entrepreneurs given themselves a little bit more time and actually had the money. I think they could have pulled it off. So, but God, man, just so much went wrong. And if you haven't seen the documentaries or you don't know about this, first of all, get out from under your rock. And second of all, go watch them because it's fascinating stuff. All right, back to the topic at hand. Netflix. First of all, let's talk about storytelling. I thought that they did a wonderful job of both telling the story of Billy McFarland and how he just scammed thousands and thousands of people out of millions and millions of dollars. I thought they did a really good job using Andy King, even though he's a meme and is willing to do anything for a few bottles of water, apparently. I thought that he was a very good voice for the story because he was directly involved. And while the other documentary had Billy, he was able to speak more candidly about all the stuff that went wrong. Although he's still weirdly obsessed with this guy. He's still like, oh, Billy, you're the greatest entrepreneur I've ever seen. You could sell ice to a snowman. Like, what? This man is going to prison and owes $26 million for fraud. And you're going to say he's a genius or he's brilliant? Look, I get admiring somebody. Maybe he helped Billy get some bottles of water of his own, if you know what I mean. But I thought outside of the memes and the stuff that came out of this documentary, he was a great voice because he was directly involved and on the island and saw it all happen firsthand. So I really like that they used him as kind of the main storyteller. Also really enjoyed the fact that they used the Bahamian lady to tell the Bahamian people's stories really well. She's become kind of the face of the destruction that Billy McFarland left kind of in his wake. And as sad as the story is, there is a happy ending sort of her, starting the GoFundMe and raising $150,000. And, it's probably more than that now. And, it's kind of funny. She's demanding that Ja Rule apologizes to her with, I think it's $100,000. I mean, that's just some boss shit. That's just like, yo, pay me and apologize. I can only respect that move. So props to her. And then I did think a couple of things that I didn't quite like about the Netflix one were, I didn't think they did a great job of telling the stories of the people who went. They had the one guy, I can't remember his name. He's right here. They had both documentaries had this guy. I'm assuming he got paid by either one or both because he was very vocal and told his story. But there's a kind of an eclectic group of people that went to this thing, and it would have been nice if they could have got a wide variety of those voices. This guy obviously wasn't an influencer until he tweeted a picture of sweet bread and Swiss cheese. So it would have been nice to hear from an influencer, hear from a guy like him, and kind of run the gamut of the types of people that went to this and the experiences they had. So I thought they could have done a little bit better there. I also don't really like the role that Fuck Jerry played in the Netflix documentary. I read something that said that they helped produce the Netflix documentary, so that makes sense that they kind of painted themselves out to be innocent. I mean, look, I'm kind of torn in this one because I get both sides. They're a business, they have to make their money, and they were being paid to promote Fyre Festival. But at the same time, everyone and their mother, apparently except for Billy, who just rides his quad around when he needs to clear his mind, could see that this thing was going... No, it wasn't even going to be a shit show. It just wasn't going to happen, and that everyone was going to sleep in FEMA tents. And he thought, oh, maybe I can solve this by getting a pirate ship, and they helped him market that. At some point, as a marketing company, you kind of have to draw your line in the sand and say, all right, we're done promoting bullshit. We're done promoting fraud. We're done, posting the same videos and photos from a shoot in the islands from 6 months ago that was supposed to portray everything. We're still posting that same stuff. Like, at some point you got to be like, all right, we're done. So didn't really like the obvious skew and bias that Fuck Jerry had. But then again, this is a marketing company that calls himself Fuck Jerry. So I guess their technical name is Jerry Media, but I mean, come on, what can you really expect from these guys? So, I thought overall the Netflix one was really good at telling this, did a really good job at telling the story. All right, now Hulu. Now this one was an interesting one because, again, I was told ahead of time that this one was so much better than the Netflix one, and I had already watched the Netflix one. I watched them both in the same night, back to back. So I already knew the story to some extent. But the Hulu one was interesting to me because the big draw seemed to be Billy, right? They got Billy. I'm pretty sure they paid him before he went to prison or during his trial, or I don't really know the timeline of it all, but they had Billy. Now, on the surface, that seems like it could do a lot. But on the surface, Fyre Festival also seemed like it was going to be badass. But it wasn't, and neither was Billy in this documentary. He was kind of just there. I mean, like, at one point they ask him a question and he just leaves. He's like, I need to take a break. It's like, no, that's not how this works. Other questions he just wouldn't answer, so I don't want to incriminate myself. Like, I don't know. He didn't really tell a story. And what story was he going to tell? Like, it's not like he was going to sit down in front of the camera and be like, yep, I did it. I'm a fraudster. I screwed everyone and I'm proud of it. Like, I don't know that, and it's always cool to have the subject of the documentary in the documentary, but I don't know that he did a lot for this. The other thing that I didn't like is that they used this guy to tell the story. He wasn't even there. Like, he's also in both documentaries, so I'm assuming he got paid to do both, but he wasn't there. He was the guy who created the Twitter account at Fyre Fraud and, like, tried to warn people via a Twitter account that it was fake. So yeah, he's good at investigating, or he's good at calling bullshit publicly, but he played literally no role in this. And so using him as, like, the guiding, like, voice and putting your story arc together with him and Billy, just, I don't know, it just didn't do much for me. Like, he wasn't even aware of Billy until well after this was underway, so he couldn't speak to the whole Magnese's fake American Express card BS, which I thought both documentaries spent a little bit too much time on, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't know. He didn't seem to be the right voice for me. I much preferred Andy King's perspective. And he didn't do a whole lot for me to tell the story because he lacked a little bit of credibility, which, whatever. The other thing is they tried to tell the Bahamian story in a pretty interesting way. That guy, I don't know that he necessarily brought out the emotion that the lady from the Netflix documentary did. I mean, they asked him point blank, so you stole the merch? And he said, I ain't never steal no merch. Like, all right, is this the guy you want us to drum up, like, feel emotion of feeling sorry for? I don't know. Again, these are just my opinions. I will say, however, the Hulu one was far better produced. I thought it was shot better. It was edited better. They used the supplemental stuff like the tweets and the B-roll and the videos that people sent in or had way better. They also used influencers better. They had Alyssa Lynch, I think her name is, and that guy named Zach something. These two, they had them tell the story of the influencers and the people who were promised all this stuff. You know, Alyssa had this great line where she's like, we're on the private jet. Like, that was in both documentaries, but her being there to supplement that highlighted a little bit better. So yeah, I think that both Netflix and Hulu did a great job of telling the story. However, if I had to pick one, drum roll please, I would say if you can only watch one and you haven't watched one yet and you only want to watch one, go watch the Netflix one. I think it does a way better job of telling the story. I think you're going to get more out of it. You're going to understand this meme, which I'm not going to explain here on YouTube because this is a family-friendly site and channel, and I don't make those jokes. And yeah, I just think that one is just a little bit better at getting the point across. They don't have Billy, but again, I don't think Billy does much for it. So yeah, that's my verdict. I think Netflix is a obviously powerhouse in this industry right now, and who knows? It could be just because I watched that one first, and so I was biased. I'd probably go back and watch them again and see just exactly what I think and see if all this stuff is true or if I'm just talking shit. So yeah, that's my verdict. Let me know what your verdict is if you watch both or you watched one, what you thought. Talk about how crazy Billy is in the comments below, and let me know if there's any other documentaries you want me to watch or review. I really like watching them. This one was just easy to do because there were two of them in the same story. So yeah, that's all for me. I really appreciate you guys stopping by, and on that note, just want to give a huge shout out to the people who have showed support so far. You know, I know this is just getting off the road. This is only just getting off the road, just getting off the ground. this is only the second video, but I wanted to say thank you to everyone who reached out, especially those closest to me, who know how long this has kind of been on my mind and something I've been wanting to do. So thanks. I really appreciate the support, and I can't wait to keep this going. I'm headed to LA this week, so look for a video either about or from or in or all of the above LA, that trip. And if you have any ideas for videos that you want to see, send them my way. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I'll link all that in the description below, or put it right here, or probably both. And until then, see you later.